please read us out of closed.
Yes, Madam Chair. I move that the Roanoke County School Board come out of closed session for the following: to discuss the investigation of a student matter pursuant to the Scholastic Record Exemption at 2.2-3711A2 of the Code of Virginia, and to certify that to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements under this chapter, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion by which the closed meeting was convened were heard, discussed, or considered in the meeting by the school board.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Mr. Greenway?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. London?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Johnny?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Clemens?
Yes, ma'am. All right, we're going to move to item 3.01, major construction project updates. Mr. Todd Kagels.
Madam Chair, members board, as usual, we have with us Wes Mitchell and Kamal Khalil from Skanska, our third-party construction management group, and they have updates on our major construction projects. Wes.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for having us back. If you've driven by that, we'll start with the CTE project. If you've driven by there recently, it's really starting to look like a building. So we'll start with site work. All the mass grading for the most part is complete, less some stockpiled rock we have on the back side of the site. But they are moving forward with getting all the curb and gutter in the front parking lot ready. Most of that is done, and they actually started with asphalt in that parking lot this week. So they've got about 50% of that front parking lot done. So if you come in the coming weeks, there'll be somewhere to actually park up there. It'll be nice. Also with site work, sanitary, working on that along the east side, getting it tied into areas A and D. They're about done with that, and then going to move to the back of the building. Same with water service. They've got the water vault installed and all the service from there tied into Area D as well, into the main mechanical room. Area D construction, that's the back side of the building where we've got the most of the paint and more of the finishes in. There's a lot less work going on there while we wait for a better time to get all of our finishes in place. That way we're not damaging anything through construction, but still some work going. The screen for the mechanical yard is up and done, and then they started pouring or working on concrete for all of our chiller pads and stuff like that this week as well. Garage door installation, all the garage doors for our shops are in, so the HVAC lab and all the building trades shops, we've got all the garage doors in. They're complete. There is one that they forgot the windows on, so they'll have to come back and install those, but for the most part they're ready to go. And then the canopy framing was completed, all the welding signed off on, and they've started putting decking on that. That way when we jump off the roof, we can get a roof on our canopies. Area A construction, there's a lot going on there. The installation of the grand entrance curtain wall, so when you come up to the building, all the glass that's on that front entrance, not all the glass, all the framing is up, and a lot of the glass, there's some pieces that they had to reorder, but for the most part it's dried in. It looks real nice. They haven't put the finished caps on there, but if you drive by, you'll see some glass on the building at the front. And then completion of the exterior stacked stone and brick in Area A. All the skin is done except for our metal panels on the east side. Interior, the installation of the kitchen equipment, ongoing. A lot of that's been complete with the kitchen hoods and the walk-in. And then just hanging drywall, finishing drywall, as well as some prime and first coat of paint on our ceilings. If you go in that big common area, all that's painted and looks real nice. You can kind of see it coming together. Area B and Area C construction, that's a really busy area, our main construction going on. In the last month, both slab on deck concrete pours were completed, so that's our second floor for Area A or Area B and C. That's a big milestone there. It completes all of our major concrete work. We'll still have to pour the pan stairs and some miscellaneous stuff, but we're done with all the major concrete work on that job. And then that allowed them to continue with the exterior metal framing and sheathing. So the front of that building, when you come up, areas B and C is the exterior metal framing is being done on that, and you'll see some weatherproof board up there as well too. The roof, spent the last month prepping that, and we were supposed to start last week, and that rain event and potential rain pushed us back, but they did start on that this week and making some really good progress with this nice weather. So they're getting the shop areas of B very close to being dried in, and by the end of the month, C will be done too. So we'll have a dried in building. Weather dependent, but it's looking good. And then outside of that, just a heavy MEP, so our mechanical, electrical, and plumbing operation going on the interior there, all of our overhead and wall roughing, and then hanging all of our mechanical devices as well. Some pictures for you here on the left is the parking lot. You can see where the curb and gutter has been poured and got all of our islands formed. Today they were actually filling all those islands with topsoil so they can go ahead and put seed on it. In that area right there, they were working on the asphalt this afternoon in that exact area. On the right is just our water service to the building. They've already got all that backfilled or tested and backfilled, tied into the building. This is one of our garage doors you can see installed. That's what they're going to look like on the back side there. The one on the far end is the one that's missing glass, but it'll look just the same, and that'll be the look of it all the way around the back side. And then here on the right, you can see the decking going up on the canopy. On the left here is our entrance to the building. You see the curtain wall. All the glass is in on the front, less the doors, the storefront entrances. On the side, you'll see if you go out there, there's some temporary plyboard in there while we're waiting on some glass to arrive. And then on the right is our culinary. They're putting in the kitchen hoods, and in the back you can kind of see it. They've got some protection on it, so it doesn't get damaged during construction, but the walk-in is installed as well. This is area B and C, second floor, the slab on deck. This is like 2 or 3 days after the pour was complete. So that's actually almost all closed in, that open. That's already all framed up, and there's sheathing on a lot of that as well. And then a lot of the mechanical and plumbing is already coming up through the floor there, through our stub ups. And from the outside there on the right, that's what that looks like as of like 2 days ago. So a lot of progress. They're moving fast and well sequenced. Come on.
Good afternoon, everyone. We'll start like usual, and I know it's redundant and sometimes it's boring, but it's the phasing that they do. It's tremendous. I mean, the coordination they do. On Condiv, we have 1A, 1B, and 2A, like second floor, the admin, the corridor, and you guys seen it like the dedication a week ago. Some of the gym area, some of the kitchen, all the dining area. You guys seen it. It looks beautiful. And I think the lady that works for you, she said, it looks like a postcard. It's amazing. So some of the punch lists we're working on, like a few items, maybe paint, glitches, minimal stuff, not maybe hardware on the doors. What's going on now is phase 2A, the lower section, and now I just came from there like a little while ago. They're waiting for paint. They're going to do the paint and the flooring. And maybe some of the devices, electrical devices, but all that, like the sanitary underground, and I'll show you in the picture. I put one where I say concrete patching, and that's what I mean by that. All the drywall and the patching is complete. It's ready. Like I said, it's ready for paint. Sprinkler system is complete. Door framing, all that. We're waiting for doors, of course, but all the framing is done. The ceiling. Some of it is done, some is not, but we're waiting on the completion. Electrical overhead is done. Some of the panels need some work, but all the in-wall conduit is in the walls, and maybe a little left, like I said, some electrical devices. Phase 3A, which is used to be the cafeteria and the kitchen, it's a lot of demolition. I mean, I took some photos, but I'll show you in the next slides. I mean, it's a lot of work. This is going to be done probably middle of next year. They're going at it with walls, doors, you name it. And we have hurt and profit testing for asbestos. I hope we don't find anything, but something this old, they might come up with something. On the concrete removal, Howard Excavation is a civil contractor, and they're doing a great job. They're little kids, but they do amazing work. They're gonna do the water line connection. They covered this side and this side, but they can't do it till we have like a 3-4 days window, so we can maybe flush it down, clean it, and test it, and inspect it, and all that. And that should be done, by the end of the month in December. Yes, sir.
Real quick on that part of it, and I don't know if you're doing that on Glen Cove as well, but maybe this is a 2-part. You said something about the asbestos. I thought we did that up front this time.
We did testing up front as much as you could do without tearing walls down. So we
Right.
don't expect to find, I know Kamal made a comment about asbestos. We don't expect to find any significant quantities of asbestos. Now, that doesn't mean that there couldn't be anything unforeseen, but for these projects, we did the most extensive testing you could do, short of opening up the walls. So we don't expect to find it.
Okay.
And it's a study. That's what they do. It's a study, and then
Okay.
we have to do the diligent thing, like making sure.
I get some plumbing could be wrapped or something, but I can't imagine. I mean, they would have poked a hole or so here and there to check, wouldn't they?
Yeah, and I know what you're worried about from the last project there, and we don't
Absolutely.
anticipate any of that going forward.
Okay.
We really haven't run into significant quantities at either school, through the phases that have been completed to this point. So we don't anticipate any
Okay.
major concerns.
All right. Thank you.
Does that answer?
Yeah, I think so. I guess I didn't know we'd have to revisit. I get that you can't see behind what you can't see,
Correct.
but I figured there were some, just like you do a core drillings on a road to see what you've got underneath the asphalt. I assume we did some core drillings in the walls and such and I'm sure there's a few things you can't see, but I don't know. I just asbestos. I just don't want to hear about asbestos.
Nobody wants to do it.
Not with the cost of it, the removal
Right,
of it.
right.
That's right. And we haven't. We had abatement costs built in up front, and we haven't had to exceed that. So I think we're
Okay.
We're okay.
All right.
Next page, please.
That's just the next page.
Oh, I'm sorry. On Glen Cove, we have phase 1B, the admin area, phase 2A, the second floor, turned over to the schools, and we're working on the punch list. Like I said, it's also minimal. It's paint touch-ups, floor scratches, but that can be repuffed and cleaned. Phase 2A on the first floor, that's in the works right now, but we got all the walls done, all the sheet foot, like the sheer footings, they're done also, and the steel is done also. We poured the floor patches. Like I said, I'll show you what I mean by that. And when they do the sanitary work, they have to saw cut it and do the piping, and then they put the concrete on top of it. The cafeteria and the kitchen, all the equipment is in. It's connected. We just need to do some testing and some inspection. And we're still waiting on maybe like floor work and maybe some ceiling work, but most of the work is done. They put the walk-in cooler installed. All the electrical is almost done. Outside work, we only have to do the light poles that the surveyor came and they put the sticks in the ground, and we should be doing that soon in the next few weeks. Any questions?
Looks beautiful. And now I get the opportunity to be here when it's finished.
Awesome.
So
I picked a few pictures, but that's from the dedication. Thank you for coming out to the dedication.
it's a beautiful day.
This is the one I was telling you about. This is 3A, and this is, now it's all gone. As I came this afternoon, all of it is gone. They're doing the demolition for 3A. They left that, and that's also gone. This is on the 2A side from the parking lot area. That's almost done. Also, like the inside of this, it's called 2A, and they got the paint done, like the first phase, the first the quote, and then they're waiting on some flooring and some touch-ups and some devices. Back to on this side, like on the right hand side, demolition. All this ceiling you see, the white stuff, that's gone. All the walls on the right hand side, that's gone. All this area is gone. Like it's completely done as far as demolition. This one is a little bit old on the left hand side. It's painted already. The kitchen, like I said, all the equipments are in, and this is an old one also. And the walk-in cooler, it's already in, and even connected. And I see that we just need to inspect it and move on. That's the concrete patches. What they do is they saw cut this, and they put their sanitary pipe. And when they test it and everything is good, they patch it, and then the flooring will come. You won't see anything underneath. That's also an old picture of like the block. The whole block is done in that phase, that 2A phase. What they do is, just to give you an idea, and I think I did that on purpose, the framing is the reference point. What they do is first they install the framing, and then they go with the block this way, that way, and on top. The shear footing, you see those holes on top? We couldn't do welding, so we had to do it that way. Patching these are super easy. So, and now this is all is done. As you drive by this afternoon, all of this is have wall drywall, and also the waterproofing, the yellow foaming that we do for the waterproofing. So it's a bit old, but I just wanted to give you an idea. Any questions?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I just want to say thank you. And your guys, I want to recognize your guys. So I go out to Glen Cove and visit from time to time, and Ms. Brubaker, our principal, has bragged about your guys every time I visit, about how much they do extra beyond just what they're doing there. She gave me a story about a dead animal out back, and she couldn't find a shovel, and she's like, I got to get this out of here before these kids come out here. And one of your guys was like, no, you don't. I will take care of that. And, talk about how they fix things. And she's like, I don't know what we're going to do when they're gone. So please extend our gratitude to your guys for going above and beyond. And it's beautiful out there.
Thank you.
Branch has been a fabulous partner.
Yes.
And they've kept the projects right on schedule and moving forward even ahead of schedule a little bit. So we've been super happy working with them so far.
It looks amazing. You go out and you see those walls and just the difference in what it was. Absolutely amazing.
I mean, I took these photos like 2-3 days ago. Look what happened. And
Oh, yeah.
Now if you go out there, it's amazing.
And same with CTE. I mean, I have several people in the community. I don't know how they're putting this up so fast. You ride by and it's like another section's built. So
Yeah.
you guys are doing a great job.
They're rolling. And we've been blessed with weather too, so hopefully that will get us dried in, and then it'll really take off.
Well, we're excited. Thank you guys a lot. Appreciate
Keep
it.
up the good work.
Yes,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys.
Madam Chair, I'm not sure if we need to make changes to the agenda or not since we changed the order.
Good.
I guess could we do it with a motion?
You could do it with a motion.
So I'll make a motion that we go back into closed for.
Well, you're asking about.
Is that what we-
It's fine. Just make a
Is
motion.
that what you want to do?
Mhm.
Well, he was not changing
Well,
the agenda.
Madam Chair, could I say one thing? Would we, I mean, if it's not going to take long, would we like to get Mr. Kegels out of the way for giving us the minor capital real quick and then going into close?
Yeah, that's
And then
Madam
he
Chair.
would be finished.
We haven't changed the agenda yet.
Yeah, we
Right,
need to fix
right,
that.
you
but I
haven't.
was just
You took a
throwing
break,
that
came back
there.
in.
It doesn't matter to me, but
It's fine with me if that's what you guys want to do.
You want to finish your minor capital?
Yeah, we have quite a few things to look at, but that's
well,
fine with me.
then that might change. Whatever y'all think. I was just
I don't know. If
Do
it's
we need
gonna
to make a motion to change the agenda or make a
Yeah.
motion to go back into closed?
I think we have to do both, maybe.
I think you have to probably do both because you are changing the agenda because we went to close, came out of close, now we're going back to close.
Well, if what he has is going to take some time, then maybe we should go ahead
Yeah,
and go
that's
into
fine.
closed.
Won't
But
take a long time. I mean, we're talking 5 or 10 minutes.
That's a long
I'll
time.
make a motion to revert back to item number 2.01 and go into closed session.
I'll second.
Madam
Chair.
Clerk?
Or Madam Clerk. Madam Chair. Sorry.
I've done that before. I write down clerk on my paper.
Mr. Greenway?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Linden?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Bajani?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Clemens?
Yes, ma'am. Madam Clerk?
Mr. Greenway?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Linden?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Bajani?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Clemens?
Yes, ma'am.
I tried, Todd.
I'd like to call our work session back to order. Mr. Greenway, would you like to read us out of closed?
Yes, ma'am. I move that Roanoke County School Board come out of closed session for the following: to discuss the investigation of a student matter pursuant to the Scholastic Record Exemption at 2.2-3711A2 of the Code of Virginia, and to certify to the best of each member's knowledge only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements under the chapter, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion by which the closed meeting was convened were heard, discussed, or considered in the meeting by the school board.
I'll second that.
Madam Clerk?
Mr. Greenway?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Linden?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Johnny?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Clemens?
Yes, ma'am. Item 2.03, action from closed.
Yes, Madam Chair, I move that student number RE 2025-2026-006 be expelled from Roanoke County Public Schools.
I'll second.
Madam Clerk?
Mr. Greenway?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Linden?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Johnny?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Clemens?
Yes, ma'am. And I would just make a note that Ms. Fashani is joining us by WebEx because she is at a volleyball semifinals in Abingdon. All right, item 3.02, minor capital construction project updates. Mr. Todd Kegels.
Madam Chair, members of the board, we just have updates on all of the projects that have been funded through minor capital. Our first one is the Bonsack Elementary flooring replacement. We've completed that in the music room, the sensory room, the computer lab, IT and the counseling office, and the conference room. The office and the library are going to be done over winter break, and when those are done, that will finish that project. Just to have some photos for you. This is, they replaced the carpet at the school's choice. They replaced the carpet with a vinyl tile flooring, and so that's the flooring in all those spaces that you see there. And again, the final two rooms will be completed at Christmas break. Out at Northside High School, we're converting those those science classrooms into facts and nutrition rooms. The carpenters and plumbers from the county are actually doing all of that work. We're looking at hopefully before December 1st completion date. I don't have photos of that. They actually did send me some right before the meeting, so they didn't make it into the presentation. But that should be done by December 1st. Out at Hidden Valley Middle School, we're replacing the ceilings and installing LED lighting in all of the public areas out there. We're doing that in phases so it doesn't impact school operations. We completed the first phase actually over election day, those couple of days we had off there. I do have some photos of that. The second phase, which is a big chunk of the project, will be done over Christmas break. And then I think the plan is to finish it at spring break and possibly a little bit into the summer. Just you can kind of tell the difference this is actually making in the way the school looks. If you look kind of right here at the dividing line where that black ceiling grid picks up, that's where we've installed the new ceiling and LED lights on this end, and it hasn't, moved forward from there. And you can see how dark the hallway is past the steps here, and that just shows you what a difference the new lighting and ceiling is going to make. Fort Lewis, we're extending the height of the wall around the cooling tower there. That should be finished this week. If they didn't finish the masonry work today, they should finish it tomorrow. Just some photos of that. You can see it had to be extended up. I think that's 3 or 4 feet that we had to extend higher there to surround the cooling tower. This little section right here is all the work they had left to do as of a couple of weeks ago, and then they put the capstones back on, and then that project will be complete. So we anticipate that that'll be finished this week. I do want to draw your attention to one thing on this. So when you enter that school, and Mr. Hudson knows this well, the rest of you may as well, you have this big brick wall here now that has this tiny vinyl sign on it that the school provided. We would like, as part of this project, to be able to provide them with a sign like we have out here at the entrance of Central. It's it's sandblasted into high density urethane. Sometimes they do them on wood. It has that sort of carved look, and we'd like to do a 5-foot by 10-foot sign for them right here, but we don't have the money in the project to do that. And I just want to draw your attention to it, and I'll come back to the money piece here in just a minute. Out at Northside High School, we renovated the restrooms in the softball building. You probably don't remember because it's been several months since we started this, but we had photos of what they looked like before, and it was really bad. As a without getting into details why it was so bad, but it was really bad. And they look fantastic now. They look like you couldn't ask for it to be better. They took down all the plastic sheathing they had in the walls. They installed new ceilings, new ventilation, new fixtures, hand dryers instead of the towel racks, which we're starting to put in our stadiums and athletic facilities to keep the paper trash down. They just look amazing. The guys did a great job, and all of that work's complete. Sorry, my link did not go back where I thought it was going to go. Okay, out at Cave Spring Middle, we're doing the softball field. That's still in engineering, and so we had 3 projects that all went to engineering at the same time. It was the artificial turf field, it was the tennis courts at Hidden Valley, and it was the softball field for Cave Spring. Since this couldn't be done for this season anyway, we actually put that towards the end, so the engineering is just now getting started on that. They just finished the engineering for the artificial turf field and have started on the tennis court engineering now. So there's really no updates on the softball field just yet. Out at Hidden Valley High School, again, for the tennis courts, the engineering firm is engaged in drafting the plans. I actually spoke with them yesterday, and the first draft of those plans are expected to be delivered on November the 21st. Northside High School, we're replacing the stadium lights out there. The only thing that's changed since last time is they did receive their electrical permits, so all of that stuff is good. Now we're just waiting on the subcontractor who's doing the installation. So I'm in contact with them about every 3 or 4 days to find out when they're going to get started. And they're just waiting to finish up another project and then come and start on ours. They insist that they're still good to get done by our mid-February deadline. We are doing that. Oh, excuse me, I need to go so that the links will work. So we're building that system in line with the old system, so there's no gap in service there, even if they were to go past. But they insist that they're still good to finish up by our February deadline. Out at Hidden Valley High School, we're doing the artificial turf field. We actually did receive the first draft of the engineering plans. They are with Roanoke County right now, waiting on the comments for them to be and approvals for them to be sent back to us. This is just where it's going to lay on the site in case anybody's interested. That outer band is the 12-inch curb, that 12-inch concrete curb that'll surround the field. The dotted area, the sort of shaded area, is the complete area of the artificial turf. They're actually going to get a nice wide field. Is what the soccer folks like. They want as much width as possible, and this is going to give them a nice wide field because you don't have the constraints of having a track around it. So that's what it's going to look like. In case anybody has any questions there. We're just waiting on the approval. As soon as they get the approval, the contractor will get started on the construction. Cave Spring High School, we're doing the snack bar out there, renovating that. Same guys that did the restrooms out there at Northside High School are going to take care of that, but we were asked not to do that until football season was over, so there's no changes there other than we do have our quotes back for upgrading the electrical service. They don't have enough power there to run all the stuff they want to run, and so we do have quotes back for that, and we're ready to go as soon as football season's over. Glenver Elementary School, we're replacing the office suite flooring out there. They're using the same flooring that they used. Just coincidentally, they chose the same thing as they did out at Bonsack, and you can see the offices now have new flooring in them, including the secretary's area there. There's only one area left to do, and that's the entrance foyer. Just didn't have enough time to get that on the during election day, but we'll get that probably this weekend. And then come next week, we'll be finished with that. Also at Glenver Elementary School, we're doing the restroom addition. We did get the engineered plans back for that. And just in case you're interested to see where it's going and what they look like, that's the existing gym. The restrooms are right in that area right there. Those are the two new restrooms. Those will be unisex. You'll have one of which is ADA accessible. And again, those are staff restrooms, and those are currently what we're doing there is pricing that out to contractors. We may try to do that ourselves just to keep it in budget, but if we can keep it in budget and have a contractor build those, we're going to do that just because our guys have a lot of work to do. More than I only have 2 guys that are assigned to these kinds of projects, and so they've got snack bar to do still, and several others before we get to summer. So more work than probably 2 guys can do. So just talking about the financials for a minute, the project out at Fort Lewis, building that wall, is over budget by about $7,000, and that was due to the roots that we ran into. I think you saw pictures of those in the previous meeting. We had to pour an additional footer and reinforce that to make sure that this didn't happen again, where we had the separation of the walls. And that's the bad news. The good news is we're 10,000 under on the softball bathrooms at Northside. We're 5,000 under on the office suite flooring out at Glenver. We're 9,800 under on the engineering out at Hidden Valley High School for the tennis courts, and we're 8,000 under on the Bonsack flooring. So we're gonna, as soon as we're sure all of the bills have come in on those, and I did leave a little cushion in case some unexpected bills come in, so I'm confident in this number. We're going to return about $32,000, almost $33,000, as soon as we close that project. We'll return that to minor capital, and what I would ask that we go ahead and do is allocate the $7,100 to the Fort Lewis project, and that we do that for at the consent agenda at the next meeting to go ahead and cover the amount that we're under there. Now, the reason I pointed the wall out to you is that if we wanted to provide the sign, that would probably cost about another $5,000 if we wanted to put the engraved sign on there. And there's some options. You could do like a printed aluminum sign for probably a couple of thousand. They don't last as long. The one that we'd like to purchase would outlast all of us probably. So again, we're going to return 32. I'm asking for 7 to come back to Fort Lewis to cover the amount that we're over budget. And then if the board chooses, I think this is for you guys to decide, we'd like to do the extra 5,000 to put a sign on that brick wall for them as we finish that up.
I have a quick question.
Yep.
I actually had talked to Kim about this during the construction, and I didn't know that you were going to request that, just so everybody knows, or I would have called each of you and had a conversation.
He did not.
But I know that they had talked about it, and maybe is there a way that they can take part in anything to do with the sign in terms of like the design of it? Or
Oh, absolutely. They can design it 100%.
Awesome. All right.
I'm good with
Would
it.
that be near the entrance? I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to
exactly
know where that
Right
is.
in the entrance. You
Right
pull
at the
into the
entrance.
parking lot. That's the first thing you're looking at as
Oh.
soon as you
Yeah.
go in the parking lot.
I'm fine with
Yeah, me too.
Yep. Okay, so that would
I'm
be
good with it.
okay. That'd be $12,100 that we would request to be allocated from minor capital through the consent agenda at the next meeting.
Good with it.
Sounds good. Thank you, Todd. I appreciate your work on that. It does look really good.
Okay, so that is all I have. I believe Ms. Fashani had requested an update. Well, in terms of minor capital project updates, that's all I have. I believe Ms. Fashani asked for an update on the tennis court project, and again, we are where we are on that is we're waiting on the engineered plans, which should come in a couple of weeks. I don't know, Ms. Fashani, is there specific questions you had in regards to that?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, first of all, I hear an echo on my cell phone, so I'll turn down my volume in my ears. So Todd, thanks again so much. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Like truly, Todd, you continue to amaze me with how good you are at your job. But I just wanted to touch base on these courts and maybe go over the history with some of the facts. So the tennis courts were built in 2002, I believe. By 2012, just 10 years later, they were failing with the large cracks. People started to complain. Took them 5 years in 2017 to do a geotechnical report, which Todd, thank goodness, he uncovered that as we were looking for this grant money to get these courts reconstructed. And the geotechnical report showed that for some reason the company built those courts used zero base stone, which is a huge problem. So that completely squared the circle, and we understood what was happening. So when they realized that in 2017, the prior board, they should have started the reconstruction process. But I wasn't on the board; none of us were at the time. But for some reason, instead, Northside High School, their courts were rebuilt, which I don't doubt that those were pretty bad as well. So that was put ahead of Hidden Valley, and then all the other schools, from my understanding, kind of got in on it and said, "Well, hold on a second. Hidden Valley, it's the newest school, and they just got those courts, and they're just fine," and they weren't. But sometimes years matter, and they were given a quick fix. The Band-Aid with this system called Titan Tracks, not related to Hidden Valley Titans, oddly enough. But so that was done in 2019, right before COVID. And because the Titan Tracks overlay was put on courts with no base stone, the existing crack under the overlay have continued to widen, and more cracks have formed, and naturally more dead spots have developed. So we did the engineering study. We're waiting on that. We could be eligible, hopefully, for $120,000 from the USTA, and they want to go ahead and they want to red courts back in the area, which could bring in revenue to our schools. But at this time, I think it would be prudent to request a ball drop testing. Todd and I have talked about in the past, and this will really give us the raw data that we need to make an informed decision, about this project moving forward. So all the other thing so that's our request today is that we allow Todd to go ahead and contract out this company to do the ball drop test and the friction test. And then I would, moving forward, I'd like to ask this board to think about the big picture here and see if we can streamline these projects in the future, so that we don't have to. I feel like sometimes we have to beat a drum, like, I need this project, he needs that project. And I think we can do this a little bit better if we considered establishing a board replacement fund for all of our playing surfaces. For all our gym floors, there should be a replacement fund. that we know, oh, gym needs to be done now. This one's coming up next. This one's coming up next. Tennis courts need to be done now. Because we've got new courts at Northside, and they need to be maintained and properly taken care of. And we've made a huge investment at Northside and some of those other courts, and they need to be maintained. And if they don't, we're going to be back right where we are 25 years later. And also with our track surfaces. So Todd has brought this up in the past. I would just like this board to consider that seriously and how we would establish that. And then, of course, just going backwards to the request for more testing on these courts. Thank you.
The testing that Ms. Fashani is referencing, we do have quotes from Firefly Sports Testing, which is the only company we've been able to find anywhere around who's actually certified to test sports surfaces. They provided a quote. It's about $3,800 per court, so times 4 is $15,200. Then there's $600 in the mobilization fee. That brings you to $15,800. Now that does not include pace testing, which I do believe Ms. Fashani requested. We did not originally request that as part of the quote, so I don't know what that would cost. I would assume it's going to be similar to the vertical ball rebound test, so that's going to add probably another, let's see, about $5,000 to that price tag. So you're probably looking at about $20,000 to do the test. I think.
Yeah, Todd, do you need to do all? The problem is on all 4 of the courts. Do you need to test all 4 courts, or can you just say, "Hey, we're going to test this one court. We know they're all bad." I don't know if that's even an option for us.
Well, so the International Tennis Federation, I probably have the wrong acronym there, but they referenced a standard, and the standard is to test 8 places on each court. So if you only do one court, you're testing 8 spots instead of 32 spots. So you're collecting a lot less data.
Okay.
I think that that's up to the board. You could certainly save money by doing that, but you might happen to hit 8 good spots or 8 bad spots, and everything else is good. I mean, if you're going to test, my opinion, you should probably test all of them.
Okay. Yeah, I think you're right on that. I don't understand how they did it. You've looked into this a lot more than I have.
I'll just point out to the board, if you choose to go in that direction, and that's not necessarily our recommendation, but that's what you need to do if you're going to get data to this. You do have $9,800 that we're going to return because the engineering came back less than we expected. So you do have $9,800 you could put towards the $20,000 that you would need to do the testing. So they get you about half of it. You'd need basically another $11,000 to do the complete suite of testing if that's what you chose to do.
How confident are you we're going to have that night? I mean, that report's not due back until later in November. How confident are you that there will be $9,800 surplus?
Oh, I built a cushion into that. So, sorry, on that one, didn't have to because the price was given to us up front. So we know that's there. We've already issued the purchase order and paid for the engineering services for the tennis courts. So we know that's that amount below. There are no other components to that project, so there's nothing else to pay for.
So does that come out of minor capital?
The other 10,000 or 11,000 would have to come out of minor capital, yes.
And Susan, I know year end's not for another month or 2.
I'll be bringing the audit at November 17th, and then we'll take it to the county, and it'll have to go through 2 readings in the county.
And what do we have do you know what we have in minor capital right now?
154,767.
And remember, we're spending 12 or 13-ish for the sign at Fort Lewis. And then plus this would be another 10,000 or 11,000.
So about 20.
All right. Any other questions?
I have no questions.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Is there support for this or not support for that?
Not from me.
Shelley?
I don't think we know that yet.
Okay, so you want to wait on that?
Yeah, because we wouldn't be
John,
making.
how long would it take for them to do that testing?
Well, that's a great question. I don't know the answer. The actual process of testing isn't going to take but a couple of days. It's their availability to come down and do it. Now, when we had asked them to price this, they were able to come down right away, but that was in September. So we'd have to, if the board decides that's what they want to do, we'll need to get in touch with the contractor and see what their availability is. But I wouldn't expect that it would take too long, a month or so maybe.
Okay. So right now, what did Susan say we have on it here? Say we have a minor?
$154,767.
All right, so we're gonna do $10,000, $7,000 for the sign. We already put money into the thing, and all I need is 10,000 for the ball drop. I'm not sure I've got the support for that. I can't see anybody's faces.
How much was the engineering study?
Let's see. It must have been about 21-ish because I think we approved $30,000 for that, and there's going to be 9,800 left. So
that's what we would be taking from just needing a 10 additional. I mean, we've already spent 21. Is that what you said?
Right. Yeah. For
the engineering study, what I know, like we're going to test the surface for that, but the engineering study is.
Yeah, it's not really right to say engineering study. I know that's the terminology Ms. Fashani used. We are doing engineered plans for the rebuild. So they're not doing any sort of study on the current courts. They're just drawing up engineered plans, just like we saw for the artificial field, to do the complete rebuild. Because you have to have that to be able to take to contractors and say, what is this going to cost? Now, we do have already a quote for the rebuild at $415,000. Keeping in mind that'd have to be a $500,000 budget. So we actually do have that already, even without the engineered plans.
And then the grant would be, what did we say, $120,000 for the grant?
Assuming that the grant folks
We
call
get it.
that new construction instead of a rebuild, because they don't pay as much for a rebuild, but assuming they call it new construction, it could be up to $120,000.
Okay.
Well, there's not unanimous consent, Cheryl, so we can't put it on consent.
Okay. Well, we can hopefully still talk about it before the next meeting. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Todd. Item 3.03, update on Roanoke County Strategic Plan, Mr. Ben Williams.
Okay. Showing my other placings. There we go. Okay. Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Soltis, we are required every 2 years to update the board on our strategic plan, and this is our time to update the board. This will be the last update as part of this cycle. The strategic plan is 2021 to 2026. So after this, we will update you on the next steps. So going forward, what I wanted to do was just go over some of the major achievements of this particular plan as we come to the end of the plan. Looking instructionally, we've changed Opportunity Ready from a term that's aspirational to a term that's operational. Elementary and middle schools doing student-run conferences, high schools doing Opportunity Ready certifications. really moved forward greatly in the last 6 years on that topic. In terms of accreditation, one of our goals is always to have all of our schools fully accredited, and we started the plan fully accredited and ended the plan fully accredited. So we're pleased there. In terms of RCPS Online, one of the significant goals was basically increasing our course offerings. And we've gotten to the point now where a student can take their whole career, or whole high school career online, including advanced courses, AP courses. So that's been big. When we started this plan, it was 30 courses. Now it's a whole lot more than that. In terms of grading, we've made great strides in terms of having a division-wide grading philosophy that focuses on mastery of course content and consistency across the division. And we're getting ready to start the final phase with grades 3 through 5 this winter. One of the other big things that happened over the course of this time period, 21 years we had Blackboard. It was kind of an institution here in Roanoke County. We were the last to give that up, but we finally moved mountains to replace that to Canvas, and now we have the Canvas LMS, and all of the terabytes of data that we had in Blackboard were moved over to Canvas. In terms of multi-tiered systems of support, we've gone a long way towards a unified data-driven system there, so that we commit to evidence-based practices and foster positive outcomes for our students. We've had consistent district programming in wellness, mental health, and trauma education. In terms of our facility use, we've consolidated into a new system. That was one of the early things we did in the plan. And also, one of the major accomplishments was re-implementing benefits for bus drivers, so that all part-time and full-time drivers are offered full benefits. Those are just some of the highlights of what happened over the last 6 years. Of course, there's a lot more that this division accomplished. Not everything that we do is in our strategic plan. Of course, you've spearheaded the building of schools. We've done a lot more than is just in this plan. But these are the things that were contained in it. Now, the biggest takeaway that I want you to get from this process is that we're at the end of the cycle. So this is the time where we start to think about what should our new strategic plan look like. What goals should we set for the school division for the next 6 years? And so the next strategic plan cycle will be 2027 to 2032. Dr. Soltis will get in touch with the school board and initiate that process, get your feedback on what the process should look like. One of the things that we're looking at is identifying key performance indicators and making it very data-driven. That's something that we are starting to wrap our heads around what that would look like. And so the next time you hear a presentation on this topic, which will be, probably maybe 6 months, we'll be talking about what the process should look like for developing a new plan and where we go from here as far as starting a plan and creating a vision. And this is actually a really good time for this to hit, because we're coming in at a time where we've got a new superintendent. You guys can work with him to create a vision for the next several years. So I'm pleased to see what that'll look like. I'm looking forward to see what that'll look like. Any questions?
I don't think so, but one comment: the benefits. I have to speak. I was just telling Mr. Linden I actually spoke with a voter at Mount Pleasant that actually drives in Cave Spring, and he said the benefits made the difference for him to want to drive a bus. So I think there are some out there, I don't know if Mr. Kegels knows, but that it makes a difference to have those benefits to drive our buses, and it gives us a pool of folks that are, maybe just retired or a few years. So I think that was a well orchestrated move to get some drivers.
I agree.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Thanks,
Thank
Ben.
you. Item 3.04, 2026-2027 course registration guide, Mr. Jason Sir.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Soltis. It's that time of year again to bring the registration guide to the school board for approval. This year, the Virginia Department of Education forced some changes within the structure of some of our CTE classes. Changes have been made that will keep our classes whole at Burton Center as we move towards the new Roanoke County Career and Technology Center. Another change within the guide is that the Center for Visual Arts 1 program will be offered virtually, and years 2 through 4 of the Center for Visual Arts will be offered at Northside High School in the fall. Finally, the registration guide lists a new Opportunity Ready capstone course on page 12. All seniors will be registered for this non-credit bearing course that will quantify their success with their curation and defense of their Opportunity Ready portfolio. So that's kind of the summary. I think it was on board docs. You can reference the registration guide there, see any changes. If you have any questions, be glad to entertain those, but be glad to entertain any questions.
Visual arts will be offered in person and virtually, or just virtually?
Just the first year will be offered virtually.
Virtually only.
Yes.
So they're concurrently enrolled in,
Yes.
in the virtual art, the visual arts class, but they're concurrently enrolled in the Art 2 class in person.
In person there.
If you're enrolling in the program, the academy or whatever we call it, the kids are concurrently enrolled in both art classes. If you're not in the program, then you're going to take regular art 1, regular art 2. So they'll still have in-person art. You'll just have a virtual class if they're in the program.
Why is there that 1 year lapse?
It's not really a lapse. It's just doing the content in a different fashion.
So it'll continue that way?
Yes.
I think that is the plan that Mike
moving
and them
forward.
came up with moving forward, was that the first year would be the in-person Art 2 class in combination with the virtual CVA class for the first one, and then you'll go over to Northside for CV2. So that is the plan they outlined.
So let me ask you a question. Can we not, did that come down to a budgetary concern? Or we didn't have the instructor, or why would that? Or we don't have enough interest, or?
That's kind of out of my wheelhouse as far as why that was made with the arts.
Right, and I'll be honest with you, we can ask Mike before we approve this at the next meeting, because he worked with Sarah Coverly, the art supervisor, to kind of develop these pathways.
And I'm not trying to make a big deal here, but for me, we're taking the arts out of the CTE, which, okay, but as long as we dedicate it back somewhere, I really don't want to lose anything here. I guess my question would be, Madam Chair, would we put this on as an action item so we'd have the opportunity to discuss and ask that question?
That would be my recommendation.
Okay.
I would agree too, Mr. Greenway, because obviously we've had people from the public, we've had kids come and speak about it, and I don't want to see the program decline because we are moving it. And I don't know if anybody's really addressed this, but the reason is square footage in the building and the cost and the budget guidelines for what we have. So we're building, to budget, and we had to cut something. But I would like to see this be put somewhere and still be well funded, and the kids get what they need to succeed in the arts.
Absolutely.
So are you asking that he come and discuss it?
Well, for me, the decision, we're going to approve all this, right? But I want to know about that class, because, y'all correct me if I'm wrong here, but we're approving that we take that class back to virtual or in combination or however that works right there. And for me, if the interest is there, if it's just a matter of space, or if there's some, I think we can figure this out. And for me,
Tim, I was just going to ask. My children have taken. I don't know what the title of this class was. I don't think I caught it, but this Cooperly does a lot of stuff for the math communications program, the arts program. It's fantastic. So she is a huge supporter of the arts. I don't know. Does this have anything to do with the new CTE accreditation system that's coming from the state? Because they've changed quite a few things.
Not
Does
the art.
anybody know that?
Not the art class, Cheryl.
No.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Because I know a lot of stuff has shifted with that, but whatever she requests, I will support because I know she's just a fantastic teacher.
so I would just make the recommendation. I mean, I'm okay with I'm going to support you in whatever you want or need, but I would like to ask that we not change our arts program. I know this is art and arts, but I mean, changing the arts program at all if we don't have to. In some cases, I even think, beefing it up would be more important. So for me, I'm not sure what I'm asking, but
maybe we should
I'd
get some
like.
more information before we.
I want to make sure that class
We
doesn't
just need
change.
to ask some more questions before we get to that point.
I think what you're asking is right. You would move it to an action item where you
Okay.
guys would have a chance to ask these questions to Mr. Riley and maybe Ms. Cubberly, who could answer the questions as to why they can go
Okay.
that pathway.
Yeah, because I don't want. I want to.
Because I don't want to speak for him.
Yeah, I don't want to lose any aspect of our arts making this transition. But now, if somebody came in and said, "Well, we just don't," I don't think this is the case. But if somebody came in and said, "Well, we just don't have the interest, or we don't have the teacher," well, I think we got to figure that out and make it. We've got to make whatever allowances to make it happen. I just don't want to change it. Now, again, if there's not an interest in it, there may be a reason. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, so they were taking that online at their home school and then moving with Art 2 at their home school, and then they were moving to the Northside full program the second year.
But I'll tell you this, the only thing for me is, and this isn't any class, I get that we're probably at some point going to move to an online structure in some fashion of all I hope we never do, but there's a lot of push for that at the college level. Maybe the kids can handle it. But for me, there is no substitute for having that person sitting in front of me. I may not have made it out of school if that person hadn't been sitting in front of me in school. So for me, it matters, and arts are no different. I think it piques the level of the kids' interest. I just think you lose so much online in anything you learn or do, and I've seen it, with other kids and with children. So I just want to take I want to look. I want to know why. I want a teacher to be teaching that.
Well, maybe that's what we need to find out.
Yeah,
Maybe we need to ask.
information.
Yeah, I think we just need some more information about why that decision was made.
Yes,
Is
ma'am.
there an alternative? And because otherwise, are we going to hold up the whole registration guide if we don't? If we don't.
Well,
move
that's
to-
my point.
Yeah,
is
so
no,
like maybe we just need
no,
some more
but-
information before we get to that. We can get those questions
I'll
answered,
get those questions answered.
and then we could decide if there's another option or what we want to do. I think we just don't have enough information
Yeah,
right now.
right.
Well, and I think we've had enough people in the public come and kind of
And the kids.
with
Right.
concern and kids. So I
Right.
think it's important.
I think it's worth definitely. Yeah, I
I
think
think
we
it's
need to
important we
ask.
discuss this in a regular meeting because not as many people watch the work sessions.
That's right.
right.
I 100%
And
agree.
also, I think it's important to let the public know that we specifically asked that Burton be designed to be expanded when the time comes to where that's needed. So even though we're not doing it now with the arts, it doesn't mean we won't be doing it in the future as the funds become available.
Absolutely.
And I think also to relay that message that no, the program at this time is not going to be at the new facility. However, we are not going to let the program lapse.
No.
And we're going to
absolutely.
fund it properly so they can continue to be successful as they are. I think we need to put that out.
Absolutely.
Well, I think that was kind of talking about two different things, though. I mean, I think that we could do that, but I still think we need to have answers on this specific,
Right. I'm just saying we maybe
so
need to
that
add
we can figure that out first.
But
and
to
then-
Brent's point, it does matter that we let people know our arts
Right.
program is not going to get any less robust. In fact, maybe it gets more robust, but we are not going backwards. And that's kind of
Well,
I
that's why
hate to say it's kind of the feel of that
well,
one
that's why I think
class.
we should try to figure this out first and,
Yeah.
and see if there's a way
Yeah.
to maybe adjust that. And then maybe we do discuss the visual arts program as a larger whole.
Yeah,
But I
that's
do
fine.
think we need an answer on this before
Yeah,
we
just
do
that.
that.
Yeah, I agree.
Finding a way to drive more students to the arts, and when I see virtually, that concerns me that students may.
Right.
And maybe I'm wrong, but
Right.
I-
Well, and
I
It
want
does
to
seem
drive more students
counterintuitive,
that
to be
direction.
honest. I mean,
And also, I mean, to the point, not to this point, but I want our staff to understand that we're not going to let it fail either, right? Because our teachers there need to know that we're fully supporting them. We fully appreciate them, and it has nothing to do with, their performance. Because obviously, we know that we've had big time successful kids come out of this program, and I think that we need to have something sooner than later on the agenda for a regular session to speak about these things, because I think
Probably
there is a
good-
lot of
good
concern
point.
in the community from all of our districts,
Mhm.
and I just want to kind of put that to rest now that we're not going to let that
Good
fail.
point.
Okay, so I have an answer
okay.
as to why the first class was virtual. I texted Mr. Riley while we were talking, and he said because there's not space to have all 4 levels at Northside. One room allows for 3 classes following the RCCTC schedule. So it's a facilities.
That's a school
Challenge.
board problem. That's
Right.
us problem. We have to
Right.
figure that out.
So I'll work with Mike
Yes,
and I'll
thank
get
you.
back with you guys
Okay.
and we'll
Thank,
figure it out.
thank you.
Just for the information of the board, we're spending about $120,000 over there at Northside for that one classroom into the Center for Visual Arts, all new furniture.
So again, information would be nice to share.
Yeah,
right?
it's my same 2 guys that do all those projects. They've already been working over there doing all the demo work, and we're meeting with casework folks and all that to try to really make that space conducive to working for CDA.
Well, let me just say even more emphatically that that's a school board issue. If it's a space issue, or if it's a facilities issue, or whatever, that's on us. And so, for me to find $120,000, we got 600 coming. We know that's coming from. We can audit back 45 years. We're going to get 600,000 that's going to come in to minor capital. For me, if that's another $120,000 to make this happen, to keep our program intact with that, I'm okay with it. But to Ms. Clemens' point, I agree. We need a little bit more information to know, and but to make that decision. But I would rather have a teacher in that classroom.
Mhm.
So I think we'll try to figure out a solution for that
Okay.
because basically he said that this was the solution that the CVA team with Sarah and her staff decided would work best. The other option was to make it a 3-year program, and they definitely didn't want to do that.
No.
So I think you're right. We can explore other options as far as
Thank you.
is there a way we can put all 4 over there.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
Well, and in the future, maybe we are told that too. Like,
Right.
hey, this is a facility issue. This is why we're doing this. Versus, we don't know what we don't know. So
Right.
you wouldn't have
100%.
asked that, Tim. We wouldn't know.
No, that's
So,
right.
and I agree with you. It is a school board. It's our issue.
Yeah.
And obviously, we don't want that to happen. So
No, all right.
people need to feel free, feel comfortable telling us what they need.
right.
Thank you for that piece too.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 3.05 DBHDS School-Based Mental Health Telehealth Services Grant. Ms. Susan Peterson.
Looks like an obstacle course getting out there. Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the board. Our school counseling department applied for a $300,000 school-based mental health telehealth services grant administered by the Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Services. And I am happy to report that we are a handful of divisions that won this grant. The grant ends at the end of the fiscal year, so the quicker that we can get the contract signed, the faster we can provide services to our students and families. There may be possibly an opportunity to extend or renew the grant at the end of the fiscal year, but that's yet to be determined. This grant will enable our division to expand access to critical mental health care for students and families within our school community. Through this initiative, we will partner with a qualified mental telehealth provider to deliver timely, professional, and confidential services directly to those in need. The program's goals include improving access to care by reducing barriers such as transportation and scheduling challenges, supporting early identification and intervention for mental health concerns, and fostering a more supportive and responsive school environment that promotes wellness and academic success. Dr. Hughes sincerely thanks the school board for your support and approval of this grant, which will allow our counseling department to implement this much-needed service for children and families in our division. Your commitment to advancing student well-being and supporting the holistic needs of our school community reflects the division's ongoing dedication to ensuring that every student has the opportunity to thrive academically, socially, and emotionally. Dr. Hughes is very excited and deeply appreciative of this opportunity and partnership and looks forward to demonstrating the positive impact this grant will have on those lives that we serve. As you know, we set aside both revenue and expenditure budgets in grant fund special projects to allow flexibility for new grants just like this one. We are requesting the school board to accept this grant and to appropriate $300,000 the grant fund special projects to this grant. In addition, during the regular budgeting process, we established a similar $200,000 buffer in the general fund for unexpected revenues and expenditures. We're now requesting that $200,000 be transferred to from the general fund to the grant fund. This will just reduce the general fund by $200,000 and increase the grant fund for $200,000, and will only be used if we receive additional new grants or need true-ups for existing grants. Because the county adopts our budget by category and not by fund, we will not need to go to the Board of Supervisors for their approval. The budget categories themselves will remain unchanged. So that's the third request for this grant. So we can let this roll to consent if you so choose for the next meeting.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sounds good.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 3.06, application for use of school facilities, long-term YMCA, Ms. Tammy Newcomb.
Good evening, Madam Chair and members of the board. Today, I bring forth the request of approval of a long-term facilities application for the YMCA. This group will be providing school care after school for Masons Cove Elementary. We spoke about it before. We finally got the application in place, and it is in accordance with policy 8.01, and it falls under Class A. They've provided everything that we need, and we request that the board's approval for this long-term facility application.
Sounds good.
Good.
Thank you. Thank you. Item 3.07, 2026-2027 Employee Extended Work Plan, Mr. Jim Bradshaw.
Perfect. Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. As you can see on the board here, each year I bring forth to you the employee extended work plan for the following year. So it's hard to believe we're talking about 25 or 26, 27 for you to review and for you to approve. Give you a couple of highlights at the beginning. I have included the entire policy, which is policy 5.48. Up front, we're not recommending any changes to what we currently have. This year it's working very well for us. But again, eligibility, in case people are listening, they need to be eligible to retire from the Virginia retirement system. They have to be a full-time employee with Roanoke County Schools for the last 5 continuous years. They have to complete the current contract, which means they would have to work through this contract to be eligible to EWIP for next year. The participation is initiated by the employee, and what they have to do is they have to send me a letter stating that they're going to retire and would like to participate in EWIP by January 31st. Of course, you get that exhausting list of all of our retirees' resignations in the spring, but that has to be on there at that deadline. And then just as a reminder, if employees are on an improvement plan, they're not eligible for this program. Okay, what the board contributes, and you recall we did change this last year because it had not been changed in a while. We now contribute $3,000 towards their annual health premium. And then their work requirements is they can work up to 80% of their contract over a 5-year period unless we deem it necessary, or the board does necessarily, where they can shorten that time frame. There's a lot of circumstances where we do need that because we need extra support in the classrooms. We might have people out for maternity leave, things like that. So we can shorten that period if deemed necessary, and that their pay rate is equal to the day that they do retire. So again, there's no changes that I'm recommending for next year at all. And if you all approve, I'd like to put this on the consent agenda for the next board meeting. And I know a normal question is how many we have. So I did check that. We have 157 right now that are participating in our rebate program. And it's one of the best things that we do as far as Roanoke County, because it keeps our experienced teachers and administrators back in our buildings with our kids for these extra years. So I would recommend obviously approval for this.
One quick question, Madam Chair. The amount that we pay for, is that a part of this part of the EWIP, the $45 or whatever we pay for the vacation day? Or
that's our retirement. That's not a part of this at all.
Okay.
That's when they actually retire. That's part of the payout of their leave, and that's not.
I didn't think that. Okay.
The big thing we changed last year with this one, it used to be I think $2,000 or $2,500. And of course, that hadn't been upped in a while with the insurance premiums that went up last year. We wanted to make sure that we were helping our retirees out, so it went to $3,000. Yeah,
good. Thank you.
So add it to consent.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Do we have anything else?
No, ma'am.
All right. Meeting adjourned.